Alright, hello everybody, it's System Talk again with another episode of the Cultist Simulator Apostle Obsonate playthrough. Now there has been some time between episodes in terms of recording, and there's a couple of things that I'm trying here, so I'd like to start with a bit of preamble. But as always, if you're enjoying the series, I'd love to hear from you. If you like it, do feel free to put the thumbs up, and of course, if you haven't already, do feel free to subscribe and hit the little button for the updates in terms of when it's coming on. Now, I've stopped recording for a certain period of time. One, because I was quite busy, but number two, because I had a lot of episodes that were queued up, and I was getting some very nice feedback from everyone about things that might work a little bit better or things that they were enjoying. So I wanted to take a minute and address that. Then I'm going to figure out where I am inside of the playthrough, and then we'll continue on as we did before. But one thing I was hearing was that apparently the game was a little too loud for some of you. And so one thing that I've done here is I've lowered the volume a little bit in the settings. I've also saved those settings specifically for Cultist Simulator. So if the game is working for you in terms of the volume, let me know. If it's not working for you in the volume, please let me know. What I'm reading right here is that the game might be a little bit too quiet. But if it works for you, that's great. But now would be a really good time for me to let me know that, because I'm actually going to hold off recording some new episodes until I can sort of get some of that feedback on board, get it updated, and ready to go. In addition, some of you have been saying that you'd like the series more if I could do some more videos. Now, the last couple of weeks have shown me that it's really good for me to have a lot of episodes in the can so that I can keep regular. So my commitment to you is that there will always be a new episode every Wednesday. But it's also very clear to me that having the option to not record something on a week is actually very helpful for me, just personal life-wise. It keeps the dread from accumulating. So I'm not going to make any promises beyond the Wednesdays. I would like to start adding some more games inside of the queue in terms of some more YouTube-specific videos that I'm doing, and so I'm going to try and find a way of balancing those things. But my commitment to you is definitely every Wednesday, and then if I think I can reliably produce consistent episodes for each of the days, then I'll start adding some more. But I won't add another day until I'm sure that I can actually keep to that pace. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I'm not going to take any more of your time. Let's jump into Cultist Simulator and see where we left it last time. Where were we? Okay, so again, for those of you who are watching, you're probably going to have just come off of a recent video. I realize that this might be a little indulgent, but I need to know where I'm at right now. So it looks like we've got the Delightful Blood. I seem to remember that I had locked myself into a 50-second slot, so this is probably going to turn into Dread, and I'm going to be stuck with the Forlorn Blood, meaning that I'm going to have some more sickness. We currently... Oh, that's our job. We've got a Season of Suspicion coming up. Now that's already happening here, so I know there's not a whole lot that I'm going to be able to do about that. What I'm really looking for is another opportunity to get the Delightful Blood so that I can stop being sick. We definitely have some notoriety, so I'm going to need to find a way of dealing with that. That'll probably be Sylvia or Yzabet, seeing as I still don't have a means of summoning a creature. Our mortal enemy is preparing their next action. Add a follower strong in Knock or Lantern to uncover the long strategy. Add a follower... Okay, so... Shadowy Presence... Alright, so we still don't know... what they're going to be doing to me. So our spies return to us in 5 seconds, let's say. They'll be ready to go. And we're doing junior work at Glover & Glover. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to try and move up to Mr. Alden. I think I'm going to avoid that and instead focus more on being a painter if I can. And before I unpause, clearly I've got a lot more as far as books are concerned, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time studying to help improve that. Although it looks like I might be able to do something with the Glimmering. I'm at least combining them. So we'll see where that takes us. I'm also a little bit short on money, so I want to be careful on that. One other thing that's just before I hit the unpause button that I thought was interesting, I was doing a look into the Perseus Library. So this is a collection of ancient Greek texts, Greek and Latin. So Kerner and Goethe, I always thought might have been something like Diels Krantz and just a fancy name. Turns out this is an actual Greek book. So that was a little bit of learning that I've done in between. But it's not time for biography, it's time for some Cultist Simulator. So let's unpause, let's watch the magic happen, and see how we can manage the stresses of being the the disciple of Paul Samuelson. All right, so Season of Visions is coming up next. I don't believe I'm going to have anything to worry about there. I don't think we're going to be doing anything that'll generate some fascination. Now we've got Slee in from the cold, but I think I'm just going to send him straight out. We do have Neville actually, so I suppose I could use him to keep an eye on the long. But for now, I don't really see much use. Okay, so now I've got the dread. In terms of getting rid of that, I will need some contentment. Alternatively, I'll need some fascination to sort of mellow it out. I don't really have access to either at the moment, but we'll see where things take us. And now I've got Saliba, who I think is my first real Grail follower. Or actually, that looks like heart. So, and this Anthic elaboration? I've got some weird placements for my people right now, so we'll add Saliba. We'll eventually have to add him into the cult. Actually, this will be a great chance for me to get rid of the... that dread, now that I think of it. Let's see if there's anything else I want to do with my talk verb. There's nothing to worry about as far as the investigation is concerned. So I think... no, actually, as far as talk is concerned, let's get rid of the dread just as a starter. So for that, I'm going to take my cult, the Order of the Bloody Bloody Cup. Saliba is a man of prodigious appetites. He has long passed the point where their satisfaction has given him any pleasure, but he has learnt so very much. You may be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. So we will do the ritual, we'll take the Anthic elaboration, but in order to get rid of the negative effects of dread, I'm going to add that to the trappings of the ritual. I don't actually need the winter or the... no winter. I don't need the edge that comes from this, but it does help me sort of nullify the negative effects of that. Alright, so we've got Cater and Hero Limited. It's been abandoned since the explosion when both owners died. The machine stands silent, the building is a collapsing shell. Mr. Cater was known to display peculiar trinkets in his office. Perhaps some yet remain. So this will be a place that I can check out when the time comes. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of money, so now would not be a bad time for me to just sort of hunker down a bit and focus on earning some cash before going on another expedition. I could also swell the ranks of my cult, but we'll see where that goes. And you know what? I think I'm going to wait on the occult scrap, so we'll wait on that. Actually, it looks like I was mellowing out the dread for clearing my mind, so that was a particularly bad sacrifice. I suppose I could be doing other things. I could send let's get Neville out to search the city. Doesn't hurt to have a little activity going. Okay, so notoriety got picked up. I'm going to have to deal with the evidence. I found someone who I might pay to enact regrettable necessities, add funds to hire them for a limited time. Now this is a very good knock follower. In theory, I might even be able to send them after the long, but I'm not entirely sure that's the wisest course of action. So I have a little bit of time before they're going to want me back at Glover & Glover. I'm going to take the Hardened Physique. I'm going to do the Unskilled Labor for 50 seconds. That's just so that I can get a Vitality and save myself from the affliction. Now, if I want to use my Fevered Imagination, I'm going to need a total of 4. So I don't have any... I should have read the text for that, I apologize. I don't have any poetry that I can read, so I'd have to put a lot of effort into raising my my glimmering up. It's still possible that'll work. I might try some paintings along those lines, but that's sort of a secondary consideration. I am, however, going to start reading all of these books. So De Bellis Murorum, Kiona Abydos, The Rose of Wanzai. So what I want to do here, I'm going to get the books that I can read right now. I'm going to put them in order. I actually just need to look for the symbol. Journal of Alexander Lacrosse. That is... yeah, Fusine. Wainscott Histories. Traveling at Night. Okay. I may not read them in this order. Okay, Wainscott's going to be at the end. The rest, I think I'm kind of okay reading in whatever order they come in. But as far as the study verb is concerned, I don't really think I have a whole lot that I want to do otherwise. So I think I'm just going to start cranking out these studies. So, again, I'm waiting on... I still have some time on the affliction, 133 seconds, so we'll wait the 50 seconds for my job to go through. I do need another occult scrap, though, so we'll take an opportunity to go through the wood. We'll be 10 seconds short on that, because I believe it takes me a minute to travel. But that's fine. We'll still have plenty of time to get rid of the affliction. I suspect I'll be getting another sickness before too long as time passes by with my Forlorn blood. And we'll read De Bellis Murorum, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Solipstos. The poem elliptically describes a war between beasts, weather phenomena, and arcane concepts. It's quite specific about their tactics. So Neville's just going to sit there staring at an entry consultant. They will not forget the savor I have given them, and Saliba has now joined the cult. Saliba understands blood, he does not yet understand birth. So I am faced with a little bit of a dilemma here as to whether or not I would like to upgrade Saliba to a higher level believer. I don't actually need a whole lot of Grail at the moment. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use the I'm going to start talking about lore in order to try and get more followers. I've been ignoring what's been going on. So Long's plans, preparations ongoing. No indication as to what they're up to. Nope. So, an assault. Our enemy intends a direct attack of some kind this time. So, we can use Edge or Forge to delay assaults. I'm not going to use Velsine to repair anything, so we'll send her in against the Long. Season of Visions is happening, so I don't want to earn any fascination. It looks like I'm going to be getting some contentment from the Season of Ardors if I don't have a romantic partner, which I don't. So there's really nothing, there's no advantage to me having the Season of Ardors, but it's not a negative thing either. So I suppose I can rest easy for the next little while. And again, I'm sitting on Saliba, a believer. It's not that I don't think having high-level cultists I think it's a good thing to have them. However, I do realize that I'm in a somewhat fragile position as far as things, some of my more essential abilities are concerned. And so just the fact that I'm able to, the fact that I'm able to sort of hold off some negatives. So for instance, if I get a fascination, if I get some dread that I otherwise don't know how to handle, it's actually rather convenient for me to have a follower to be able to dump that into. Similar argument would be for the hanger-on or the pawn. So again, I've got a couple of safety valves, but it would be good for me to just keep a level head and not get too eager to upgrade followers that I don't necessarily have much use for. If a hunter has found notoriety, they will use it to create or upgrade evidence. If they're meticulous, they'll always succeed. If they're erratic, they are more likely to fail. But they can occasionally create evidence even without notoriety. Alright, so Neville is back from not doing anything, but that's what I wanted him to do, so we'll get him to search the city again. I'm not going to Moorlands just simply because I do need to start building up my my capital again, and we will go for the occult scrap right away. So, I walked in the wood last night with this... I keep forgetting that it doesn't automatically pause anymore. So, I walked in the wood last night, and the scissors worked in the distance, and the furred things crammed my mouth and swarmed my ears, and I felt the old urge to drop to wolf fours and nose among the roots. But I remembered that I walk upright by day, and I know fire and steel and words, and at last I found where the velvet had concealed a secret on tree bark beneath moss. I read it then with the tips of my fingers, and I think now that I could write it in full. So we've got another occult scrap. I can use that for investigation. I'll do that in the exploration verb, but right now I need to heal up. And again, it's important to remember this vitality is, it's not just that I got the extra health from doing the job, but I also mitigated the extra money from doing the job, but I also mitigated the cost of financing my recovery. And so essentially that 50 seconds on the work site gained me effectively 2 funds through avoiding the cost. All right, we finished reading De Bellis Murorum. The 2-1 joined and the horn distinguished. Consequently, blood. Now, one really important thing to remember about Cultist Simulator is that it's very well written. I think that's the one thing everybody's going to say about this game. But it's definitely not the case that things appear in this game randomly. Generally, what you will find inside the text, if you read and reread, there's sometimes going to be meaning. Now, that particular one, I'm not 100% sure what kind of meaning I can draw out of that, but if you've ever gotten stuck on some of the pathways through the Mansus, there are actually tips inside the text. You just need to know what to look for. So I don't have anything else to do right now as far as my my abilities or my study verb is concerned, so let's read Kion at Abydos, a play dealing with the 9-year sojourn of a snow goddess in the Thracian city of Abydos by Apollo Fireweaver. It enjoyed success in London in its 1892 edition, when it was republished from apparently an older Greek text. So we'll read it. An entity called Kion arrives at a blizzard and demands the city gates are barred. As Abydos falls under her spell, the dead return but do not speak. Now, the color of the text will indicate heavy winter elements, but too, great example of the kind of writing inside of here. If you don't think that this is a winter text, it may just be because you're new to the game, or it's because you've gotten used to reading this stuff over and over again. But that can sometimes be a hint that maybe there's going to be some dread that you need to worry about. So why did I feel okay that I could read that text? Well, because I know I've got a season of Ardors coming up, and I'm gonna get some contentment off of that anyway. So the world as it is. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I am sane, if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions. It's over for now. Sickness, I shrink and grow pale. Fatigue chokes my throat. I must ensure that my death serves a purpose. So again, this is simply the course of the disease running through. I'm going to need to deal with the affliction again, and the best way for me to do that is in 37 seconds when I'm done at Glover and Glover. I will use the Oh, actually, that's a really good point. I'm not going to be able to go to the worksite because I am too sick. So I am no longer able to take advantage of that spare vitality. I'm going to need to think about an escape route for that then. I might just have to bite the bullet and spend money. Alright, I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues. So one of the things that I can try and do to get myself out of the pickle with my affliction would be to try and maximize the number of times that I invoke heart. So for instance, I can use the waking chant instead of the occult scrap, let's say, to try and attract acquaintances. I can send heart followers to do certain things. The more heart that I keep using, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to generate some vitality. And that's really what the doctor ordered right now. We have another season of suspicion coming up, and this will only be gone in 200 seconds, so it's quite likely that we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. But again, if the affliction is starting to get a little too dangerous, preparation spoiled. Our spy has upset some element of our enemy's preparations. The Long has lost 1 preparation token to your sabotage. So if I want, I can try and run it out again. Let's bring in Eldridge. Let's just see if I can really frustrate the Long. It's not like I'm doing anything else. So, again, what's the best way for me to handle the situation I find myself in? Well, I'm not going to be able to get the health for another 17 seconds. So at this point, I think going to Glover and Glover makes the most sense. At the very least, I'll be up the money. Whether or not I use money to cure the affliction is another question. Oh, drat. I wasn't thinking, actually. So this was my spare health. I could have gone to the work site, and I just wasn't thinking. Okay. So, you know what, with that in mind, I'm just going to take my lumps. I'll spend the money, and I'll make sure that I go to the work site next. Alright, Kion at Abydos. For 8 years, the city is a place of slow death, frosty ecstasy, and silent beauty. But in the 9th year, a conspiracy of shouts is mounted against the quiet that Kion demands. The conspirators open the city gates, and a scarred man comes to drag Kion out by the hair. Summer returns, but the conspirators die of remorse. So we're getting close to the end of our time together. I know I needed to spend a little bit of time doing the prep, but just a reminder, today was a little bit of a test to see whether or not I've got the settings the way that they should be. Come with me. So who did we get to our cult? That'll be the last thing that we do tonight. So there's our Furtive Truth, and we have just added Violet. So it is a winter day all around. Good news. All right, so as I was mentioning before, if you think that the volume levels have worked for you, if the game is too quiet, if the game is too loud, now is a great time to let me know about those details. I am trying to hold back on recording too many episodes just so that I can make sure I'm not making any bad judgments. In the next episode, we're going to start knocking down a few more of these books. I'm going to try and resolve the issues that I have with my sickness, and then we'll see if we can kind of get to a point where we're pushing ahead as far as being able to go on some more expeditions and just generally starting to fulfill our role as the well, you'll find out what our role is if you don't know how the Apostle Obsonate ending turns out. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.